Alright, y'all, welcome back to Anime Savants, and this week I am whoever Kenjiro Suda wants me to be.
Oh damn, I'm Ageha from Siren because I reread like the first 50 chapters this week. It is so good!
Oh, okay. And welcome back. So, let's just get Vanitas out the way. Let's just get it out the way. It's over. I'm glad. People lived. That's great. I don't want anything else to do with this arc in the rest of the series. I'm done. Whoever was directing this, like who was the primary episode director or whatever, I'm done. Noe's hand getting blown off needed to come much earlier in this. My attention would have been like, oh, niggas are getting maimed. Okay, let me stick around. Let's see what's happening. It fell flat. For an arc for Vanitas, it fell flat, and I think the main reason why it fell flat is because it went on way too fucking long. The previous arcs did not go on as long as this. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that arc. Do I love Chloe? I love Chloe. I love her. But as a whole, the whole thing with like the paladins, the whole thing with Astolfo, like having a mental breakdown while talking to Roland, all of it, like you had your chance to explain this shit last episode.
Yeah, so I feel the same way. I'm happy it's over. Yeah. It was 2 to 3 episodes longer than it should have been. Like this could have been wrapped up in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
If they had just been, that's the right way to say, more confident in what they were doing. They also, there's an expression that I've been hearing lately with referring to a lot of like shows that kind of go off the rails. It's like you're trying to put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, right? Like,
yeah,
it's too much. The show works best when it's leaning into an A plot and a B plot, and sometimes you can sneak in a C. Like if you ever watch like sitcoms, a typical sitcom has an A, B, and a C, right? And your pacing is determined by how quickly each of those plots move. And normally sitcoms got to be over in 22 to 23 minutes of television, so you're moving through these A, B, and C plots, but they all come to an end at the same place. This arc had an A plot, it had a B plot, it had a C plot, had a D plot, kind of also had an E plot as well. And only like 2 of those actually got wrapped up in some meaningful way. So the Chloe and Jean-Jacques, their story kind of came to a conclusion. Vanitas and Jean, their story kind of came to, in this arc, kind of came to a little conclusion. Also, they threw the death flags all over that girl.
Flags for
they threw those death flags all over her.
God.
They even hit you. They hit you with the quality animation too, so you knew that was the last time you were gonna get her in her right mind as a complete yeah.
Because when she goes back, she's probably gonna be a puppet from now on.
Yes, yeah, and Vanitas will have to kill her or something like that, right? Everybody else, the stuff with Noe and Jean-Jacques kind of didn't have an ending. Remember the whole thing was that Chloe was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill this guy because he's gonna be a friend that this guy needs when I'm dead." But yeah. Chloe and Jean-Jacques kind of wrapped their thing up, and Noe he literally disappeared out of the structure of that
because he was not even useful for the majority.
So why did we waste any time in the castle with them together? It was literally only there to info dump the audience as to what was actually going on, which, to be fair, if they were going to do it, they might as well just waited until they got to the final showdown to have, because all they were going to do was exposition anyway, which is what they did. So the C plot didn't go anywhere. Then you get like the Roland and his group showing up. They kind of didn't do anything. Astolfo was in episode 1, I think, as like immediately as an antagonist, and then we got nothing with him until these last couple of episodes where they tried to kind of bootstrap in the tragedy of his life, and somehow This is another thing about like action direction, which I think a lot of people miss because we grew up in an era of like big shonen tentpole stuff, and so people obsess over the hype that a conflict and a fight can create, and then get disappointed when, say, like the execution of it isn't over the top. So like if everything isn't Demon Slayer, Daki fight, then it's mid, okay? But a good action scene is about the ideas and the ideologies of two or more antagonists against each other, and then the fight is like an allegory for them determining who is right and who is wrong in that moment, which is why like the structure for Astolfo was, I'm crazy, I have a bigoted like hatred, psychotic hatred against vampires based on some shit that happened in my life. They pit him against Noe, who is like the ultimate compassionate sort of individual. He's almost a pacifist, but he can fight and everything else. And if you saw how they ended their fight, basically the last like 5 minutes, it was basically Noe confirming his resolve in his own ideology to not hate the people that he comes into contact with, and Astolfo is this like pure embodiment of hatred, mindless, brainless hatred, and that they he comes to understand him in the last minutes, to the point where he's willing to throw his arm away in this bid to like take him out without killing him, because now we got all that. Okay, it didn't need to be presented the way that it was. If that's what we were going to do, everything we heard about Astolfo should have been established in episode 1. When we meet that character and he's like a berserker and he's like kill vampires on sight, him and all that wasted time we spent in the castle could have been him beating the shit out of Noe, and Noe feeling like, if I fight this guy again, I don't have I have to kill this guy because he is just too much for me to like be pulling my punches, because I feel bad for him. And the way you could have solved that is, in that first confrontation, have Noe get some of his blood in his mouth. Then we can do he can see, because that's his whole power. His power is that he can see people's...
His power doesn't matter.
Right, but his power is like the sort of thing you would give a shonen protagonist in another series. That's what it is. You come to understand your enemy because...
Which is perfect when you're fighting them and niggas are bleeding all over the
Yes, exactly, right? And then you understand your enemy, and if his whole thing is that like he will never fight or kill out of anger, he will always try to find a way to like save the person or redeem the person that he's interacting with, because that's what his conviction is, then all the stuff that they do with him would make sense. The problem is that's not at all what he's been given a lot of opportunities to do in this series.
To be absolutely honest, I didn't get any of that. So kudos to you for picking that shit up, because I literally thought that Noe was just going to wax poetic and basically be like, "Why are we fighting?
They bootstrapped it at the end of the fight. We have like the 97th flashback. Only this time it's Vanitas explaining to Noe what he has to do in order to fulfill his own character's ambitions, which is weird because Noe should be the one who knows that. Yes. He should need Vanitas to remind him not to do it. And also, Roland, I guess, seemingly told those two about Astolfo.
Oh my god!
Off camera.
The deleted scene coming back. Why the fuck didn't you just put it in the damn other episode?
Yeah, like that.
I was so confused. I was like, who organized this?
That's what I'm saying.
I thought that Vanitas had just like gone out the castle somehow, and I was like, nigga, weren't you just inside fighting?
Right.
And then it's like, oh, it's a flashback. Why do we have a flashback right now?
It was so coincidental that like, oh, Vanitas is like, don't kill that guy, even if you're in your fifis, and you've like, it turned out that was like the right thing to do. But like, realistically, how would he know that that's a good idea? He might be sending his friend to go get killed. Like, that part doesn't work in the order that they do it. This is actually really what it boils down to. The arc was too long. There was too much redundant bullshit in it. If the entire thing, like, I bet you if you took all the flashbacks out, if you went through every scene and just cut everything that was technically a flashback, you could fit this into 2 episodes. There's not actually a lot that happened. They showed up in the forest. No Way gets knocked out and kidnapped. They get a bunch of backstory, which is all the castle scenes are, just pure backstory. Jean and Vanitas have a thing, and then they fast forward directly to the final confrontation where they throw everybody in, and even that fight kind of just boils down to the villain doing what they were already gonna do anyway, and then fucking up, and then getting saved. That's the whole... everything, all the little diversions with the Roland's crew and Astolfo and No Way and like the little cyber robot things, which did you see that there was actually they were fighting? There was some fighting happening with those.
Didn't care.
Didn't give a shit. That should have been a reveal. That would have been really cool. So, I'm burying this. But the resolution to all of it is very in line with the flavor of the show. The flavor of the show is all about this like romantic tragedy. That's all of the plot lines are all...
and they laid it on thick at the fucking end there.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, yeah.
Every pairing of every character. Yes.
Came out
even No Way coming and seeing Vanitas in the field. They have a pseudo romantic type of relationship, or by presentation, it's not like
romance.
It's not baiting. It's like they are very emotionally entwined with each other. The way all the characters are like this. And that
is a very good way to put it, because I don't get BL vibes from
No, that's not what's happening.
I know y'all love drawing them, but listen, it's not BL. It's honestly just like people being emotionally vulnerable with each other in a non-romantic sense. That's what I get. Yeah.
And I was baffled by the placement of that. They had to get a final flashback before, like, I thought we were done. I thought we were like, okay, we're moving the plot forward. Nah, bro, we now have to get a final flashback so we see Vanitas and his backstory and what's going on and why he's suddenly like cracked up and broken at this exact moment. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I get what they want to do visually. They had some amazing, like, allegorical...
The oil painting
shots
that they did with like vine.
And it was, all of it was very allegorical, and it was like pulling the themes. The music was great, but I had to ask myself, why would you put this scene here unless you think I'm a fucking moron? Vanitas is crying in this field of...
You know who I was in that moment? I was Stephen A. Smith. We don't care.
We don't care. Let me tell you right now.
We don't care. I was wrap it up. Let's go.
It's the wrong place for the scene that they gave us. It's the wrong, and I'll tell you from just a narrative, forget all the other stuff we talked about. It bloated, too many things happening, too many flashbacks. It was exactly the wrong place to put a scene where we are told why Vanitas is feeling the things that he's feeling in that moment. And the reason is because it actually diminishes what comes before and what comes after. If you think that there's something in his background that is like gets to him at that exact moment, but it's not something that the audience has experienced, the last thing you want to do is put an even more cryptic and emotional scene in the middle of that. You got to sit in whatever the real is, and then if you want to have the backstory where it's like, okay, we want to learn about his relationships, who this woman was, his mentor, prior to his mentor, and all the scarring stuff, do that at a point where he would be either having to communicate that to somebody else, at least one of those characters is relevant to the story that we're doing, or once this moment has had time to breathe. They stuck that shit, like Jean runs off and then it's like backstory again. We're getting hit with the flashbacks. It's just coming at us left and right. I'm like, there was no need. Just like sticking the thing with Astolfo was unnecessary. This was unnecessary too. Do it before or do it much later when it's very relevant.
The only thing that I even thought that would have saved the arc is if after they came out the castle, the paladins would have been like, so it's on site for everybody because we don't know.
Yeah, right.
That made sense. Because the only one who has a connection with everybody is Roland. So, and the other guy with the chainsaw sword, he already is kind of course, he may be brought over to Roland's side eventually. But like, in the moment, it's kind of just like, bruh, it should have been an on-site still like battle when they saw everybody, if they saw them but that would have made more sense to me as basically saying, we don't have time to talk and flashback because now we have to escape. because the paladins are trying to kill us.
I know that it's a trap to want folks to have like studied anything about creative writing and storytelling, because people call things rules, but what they really are like conventions, and the best stories are often the ones that like borrow a little bit from convention, then break the rest of the shit so that you can do something more interesting. But this is like where my like my brain just narrows right in on some basic ass shit. When you are telling either an epic or anything else, you have to make sure that once you're done with a segment of your story, your readers, your audience, whoever that is, understands how have we progressed towards whatever the stated end goal of the story is. Even if the end goal is a million miles away, even if you're not going to get there for a long time, if you asked me after this arc, what, aside from like the characters feeling very strong emotions for each other, how much closer did we get to any resolution of any of the major anything that's happening? The answer is none, because that's actually a big problem with the whole series as it's been presented via the anime. There's a mystery of what is the curse. We have Vanitas, the character's stated intention is to cure vampires who have the curse, but because we don't know what that means off of an individual basis, like finding one person, getting their true name and banishing it, we don't know if he's making any progress towards that scene they showed us in the very first episode where Noe has to kill him or something. That's what they imply, is that Noe's gonna kill him for a reason. One
thing that this made me like second guess about the whole series is that, remember when they were at the vampire ball and the little girl got infected and they couldn't save her? Why the fuck were you able to save?
Could he just like he was like, okay, your curse name is this, your curse name is that, all right, we're done.
For centuries you've been cursed, but this little girl that's been cursed for 30 minutes gotta die.
Fuck that bitch.
I mean, that was just one thing that stood out to me, where I was like, you kind of need to explain that a little more to me.
Don't make me look at the plot holes. If I have to look too close. No, I'm not saying you're not doing that wrong. I'm saying for the story. Yeah. Don't force me to look at the parts that are clunky. Give me something to hold on to make me like gloss over the things that are like, I shouldn't be asking questions that people in the story are not asking. Like that's usually the sign of like you've lost the attention of the audience, and now that they're looking around, I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I know you play a lot of video games. You know that like when you finish a major chapter, they already tell you or give you an implication of what you have to go do next. And if you're telling a long narrative, the same thing is true with all of your moving pieces, the plot and the players in the plot. Where are we going? What do we learned something? It's not clear what it adds up to.
We learned a little bit more about Charlatan. A little bit.
A little bit.
What can they even do with that information? And also, it's the same thing where like Vanitas knows shit, but he's saying like, oh, well, I didn't know it for sure, so that's why I didn't tell you. And it's like, okay, I mean, yeah.
Fine. I accept that is what you have said is your stated intention, but
yeah,
I don't know if I like that as like a
and I don't know how many more times I'm gonna accept that.
Correct. Like, if it's as easy as this, so there are things that I think are true, and I'm sure some manga reader or someone who's very familiar with this will be like, oh no, it's this. But like, it appears that if Vanitas can just like subdue somebody or get them to like chill out, as long as he has his book, he can look up the true name and get rid of it. Okay, I think I sort of buy that from what happened a couple of times in season 1. I don't know what the conditions were. They never were very clear about what it was, but cool, fine, no problem. 2, we know that a vampire can just refuse to give it, and therefore they don't get cursed. Because Noe has been tempted like 80 times. And every time he's like, nah, bro, I don't want it.
She want that shit. She wants that shit.
So the curse as sort of a manifestation of like inner discontent, whatever that is, sadness, anger, that to me, I don't know if I'm buying that as much, because as you pointed out, random people just begin, like, I'm feeling bad about paying my taxes, and then Nania starts whispering to me, and then I turn into a curse user. Like, I don't, what are the rules? Fine. Okay. And then third, we now know that he can do other things with his power, his knowledge, and the book, because he basically deaded the whole time loop.
Yeah.
Off strength. I didn't see him look anything up. He just got on this unfamiliar pipe organ,
whatever,
and then and get his blue shit on his hand, and then it's like, what? So we're two seasons in, man. You got to give me something. What are the rules? What the fuck is going on?
And also, they need to start breaking down like his history with the blue vampire in more detail, because that was even more so just like only flashback and like, you know, alluding to different things. My main question whenever they do a flashback is, where's the other kid? Where's the other kid?
Yeah,
what's
who
going
is
with
this?
the other kid? Who is this? Are they a villain? Like, what? I don't know. I say all this to say I'm bitching. I'm still gonna watch.
No, it doesn't suck. It's just you look at it and you're like, oh, I see what a more talented individual given similar resources would have done. This isn't even like digging in on what the actual plot is, because like I think we had this conversation when the series started. I was wondering if they were going to go episodic or serial. Were we going to get kind of what we did wind up getting, which is one long narrative presented, you know, in very typical, you know, anime form, episode to episode, we move through the story? Or was it more like there's a central plot, maybe in a single season 5 episodes are directly following that plot line, but then the other ones are sort of like monster of the week sort of situations where Vanitas has to be like a detective and learn certain things about the individual who's cursed in order to figure out what their true name was, and then the resolution is him solving it. And maybe you get like 2 minutes at the end where it ties the episode into the bigger thing. Maybe Ruthven is skulking around and you see him, or maybe other characters are coming in and out of the story and they're part of the reason why this is happening. And then we get episodes maybe like the last couple that we had where everything kind of connects into one sort of showdown. It's emotional, it's this, it's that, and then we move on to the next. I thought it was going to probably follow that format. Not that I'm saying that would be better, it's just I thought that's what it was going to be. But these last 6 episodes kind of felt like they should have been something like that, where they are going to a new place, they spend some time around Javaden, people are getting cursed, there's the beast out there, there's a mysterious castle that nobody can get close to, and when they do, it feels like they're stuck in a time loop, and it's fucking weird. Vanitas has to solve the things around it. He runs into the Roland and his people who are also investigating. There's a clash. Astolfo meets Noe. They now form a secondary protagonist battle, and it all culminates in getting into the castle and finally finding out what the fuck is going on, and then you do the episode that we got right here. That format, that idea, wonderful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It said we got all the pieces of that, but somehow jammed together in the most awkward way possible. Where, remember that episode where Vanitas and Jean were in the shack, and like Vanitas is all fucked up, and they have like this like really deep like heart to heart moment. Do you remember what happened right before that? How did they wind up there? It wasn't like there was a long series of actions. It was literally just him running into, I think, the beast, right?
Yeah.
We had one encounter.
In the second episode, where basically they all just got like washed.
Yeah, so he gets one-shotted, and then they spend 15 minutes in a wasting time to get to the scene where they just like get really intimate. You could have like cut 10 minutes out of that episode.
I agree.
And gone right to, and it would have the same impact. The exact
all we
same
needed
impact.
to see was just him half naked. That's all.
There you go.
Did.
And then Jean on top of him, and then they do all the little back and forth, and then they get interrupted by the niggas coming in, and then that would pay off in the episode we got here.
First 3 minutes.
Yes. Yes. Because we got better shit to be doing. Also, they never really like dug into the time loop aspect of it. We get like the one repeated scene of the people trying to get into the castle who get massacred, and then like that's it. It never really that aspect of it kind of gets forgotten and dropped because we then spend so much time inside the castle, and when they're in the castle there's no evidence that it's like, oh, yesterday's the same as the day before, I feel like I've been here forever. None of that. They just forget about it because they have to pack in 3 episodes worth of like flashbacks that don't even take place in the same situation. So I'm with you. I'm bitching. I want there's so many other good things because it still looks great. The music is great. The emotional aspect of the characters all involved actually are deep and there's a word, it's not oeuvre, I don't know what the word is, but like when you have like people together who like everyone's dramatic, everybody's emotional, everybody's like feeling something at every moment. Like the show pulls that part off very well, which is actually the hardest thing to do in an anime. It's kind of like I didn't think No Way got some hits in though. I mean, like I liked seeing him in like shonen action
but
mode.
Also I don't know what his power is. His power is like
no
physical
idea.
Ability. So that in another way, I was just like, what do you do though? Like
I would so wish that there was an actual power system in the show,
which you had said recently, but
yeah. I would like there to be much more. This is my bias because I was for shout out to free courses online. Brian Sanderson, who wrote The Wheel of Time, has an awesome free course from BYU that goes through like how you build a power system in a novel. He's written a lot of them. He's very good at it. I would have loved for the author of this to have taken that course first, because this shit needs fucking structure. I need something to look forward to when there's a conflict between characters, like, oh, they're gonna do this, or some rules that I can understand that explain why something was or wasn't possible. Remember when Vanitas basically one-shotted Jean? I mean, he like cheated and kissed her, but like, what the fuck was that? What can he even do? What are his abilities? Who is this nigga?
And we're over halfway through the second part now, so it's kind of just...
I don't care about the mystery. Mystery can last for one episode. And then now you gotta tell me what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So I'm over it. I'm over that part.
Answers. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with this last arc. I just know they better not leave it on the cliffhanger.
They got 5 episodes to do it, or 4, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Figure some shit out.
Whatever. Yeah.
Give me the machine count. I need something new. This is what they got going on right now.
Take it back to the vampire world.
Yeah. Let's go do that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with the show this week.
Okay. So now we're going to Sabikui Bisco. I loved it. This is a good fucking episode. This is so predictable, yet loved every fucking moment. Like, and when I say predictable, I mean like, oh, I didn't think of that. But like, I feel like it probably was obvious to other people, but I was still like, "Ooh, you what? You a what? And you can do what? Oh my god!" Like,
they pulled out every fucking meme in this. For every meme you've ever seen in a shonen, anything, they pulled it out here.
And then Kenjiro said a meme. The governor
oh my
said
god!
an actual meme.
So. I'm on the whole other spectrum from what I was talking about Vanitas. Sabikui Bisco gets it. They fucking get it. I'm watching this and I'm like, I kind of now want to see this dub on Adult Swim, because this is like perfect fodder for that. Okay, so we can walk a little bit through the episode, but I'll get to what you were bringing up right there. So we basically get right to the shits. I thought that they were gonna like spend some time getting Milo out back to
I thought Milo was gonna have to work to break
motherfucker. It was like scene number 1 is Milo. It begins with Milo kicking in the door, but before that we got the main antagonist name Kurokawa, I think is his name.
Yeah, Kurokawa.
Yeah. He's trying to play like fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic the Gathering with his fucking mushroom zombie dude. The guy just fucking falls over. I'm like, all right, we're already deep. This man is just a weeb. That's all. He's just the ultra weeb, because he loves like what kaiju movies, and he's like bitches.
Yeah,
remember in episode 1? Yeah, he was like bitching about how like, I won't have time to go watch my favorite movie. I'm like, this guy's he's got some character. He's got some extra sauce. Now he's like talking about like he got mad the guy wasn't playing his cards right. He goes around like, oh, you could have put the shield up to stop my hammer. Then in the middle of the fight, he busts out a Sailor Moon reference, calling dude Tuxedo Mask.
Yes.
/ Kamen Rider. Like, come on, they're having too much fun. It's too much.
I literally yelled. I was like, did that nigga just say something from Sailor Moon?
Yes.
What?
Yes, yes.
I gotta say, niggas was getting fucked up. Niggas was getting fucked up, and I did not expect it. I expected like injury. I wasn't expecting like slicing of tendons, niggas getting shot through their skull. I'm here for it. I'm here for everything. And then also the big reveal, at least for me, where that nigga was like, bitch, I'm a mushroom keeper too.
Which may mean that story from the little extra episode,
Pawu,
which was not originally part of the manga, is now they found a way to like use that to enhance this character, because now maybe that too was him. I thought of. Yeah, which is good. You have to have a payoff for things. You don't just do things to do things. It's set up and payoff, set up and payoff. And that was this whole episode. So Milo busts in. He gets 2 hero moments in that segment, because the first one was him outsmarting Kurikawa with the gas and everything else, and then showing us kind of the progression of what he had showed in the previous episode with the boar. Now he ain't no fucking pushover, because he's not as good with the bow as Bisco is, but he's showing up with that knife. He fucking stunned that dude, or at least he thought so. Like, he cut him up, he had him at his mercy, and then the villain did the usual villain things, like, I already thought of that before you even came in. But they saved it for me by revealing that Kurikawa is a mushroom keeper. And at that point, he puts him in the same logical category as Bisco and Milo, because all 3 of those people, including Jabi, when they're involved in a fight, they are constantly doing what Kurikawa did. They already had some mixed up, you know, concoction ready to go. They were planning ahead of time. They used it to gain an advantage over whoever they were doing. And at first you could think, okay, it's an asshole. Why does Bisco have exactly the right thing? Well, we've now spent so much time with these Mushroom Keeper characters that they're always thinking ahead. They are always prepared for wild ass situations that I couldn't think of. I don't know, when I leave my house, I'm not worried like a giant fucking hermit crab is gonna come and like bite my head off or anything. Like that doesn't happen. But in their world, they are prepped and ready. So you get the reveal that, you know, he already, I don't know if do you ever see Black Dynamite, the movie? Anyone who's seen that movie, there's a line in it. It's Michael Jai White. It's a fake blaxploitation film, but it was filmed in the but there's a trope of, like, you know, the hero knowing everything before it happens. So like he throws a boomerang and then it hits a dude. He's like, oh, I threw that shit before I came in the room. Like Kurikawa was like that. Like he had already foreseen all these possible things and had a counter. Gets Milo at his mercy. I was thinking when he was threatening him, this is the exact time for Bisco to show up in a fucked up state, and like on cue, busts through the door. He's, you know, holding himself together. He gets like the shot off on Kurikawa, blows his motherfucking arm off. I'm like, oh shit, motherfucker got a robot arm? Oh, now I'm into this villain. Like, he's got a lot of shit. But of course, he's got the puppet shroom situation. Another counter for a counter. Gets our heroes at, you know, the lowest point they need to be. Then, at the last minute, Bisco gets the arrow to the teeth, throws it back, goes through, you know.
Oh my god, that shit was so cool.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like, he's looking at Milo like, I believe in you. That was like the moment, you know, like, do what you gotta do, bro. I got this. And then they still get taken out. So now Kurikawa is at least looking like he is formidable. Because even though both guys were wounded, like, Milo's not a fighter yet. Bisco's wounded. And you got to give your villain something so that you can take him seriously. So he gets both of them. And then they do the double swerve to have Jabi show up and save everybody. So now all of our side characters have gotten moments of looking like they're more than just fodder. That they're actually, like, part of the story. We found out Jabi actually saved Pawu, which is sick because this old nigga is still up to something. You got that scene where he's in jail, you know, faking being out of his mind. Like, he had mushroom powder in his fucking beard, bro. I'm looking at this shit like, the guy threw him a rat. I'm like, what are we about to do right now? He's going in like he's about to get a good meal. No, he uses the rat carcass to grow acid mushrooms to bust out. Like, everyone's doing shit. They just do it, and then he throws himself, like, he takes out Kurokawa. Kurokawa get mashed into the ceiling like a bitch. And he was,
and then also having a history with Kurokawa, because he definitely was like, oh, you know, he was like, your puppet shit was always cute or whatever, but wasn't that great.
You and your dark magics, like that's what they said to him. But then there was still comedy in this episode, like the guard obviously getting taken out by Jabi when he taps him, but when Kurokawa gets smashed into the ceiling, they cut to the next scene where some amount of time has passed, a little bit. He's like helping Milo, Jabi's helping Milo and Bisco. Kurokawa's still on the fucking ceiling. His ass fucking fell down. I actually cackled because I'm like, this is how you like you lighten things out a little bit. But what we just saw prior was fucking horrifying.
Yes,
limbs getting destroyed, people getting shot in the eyes, like even the shit that happened to Milo and Bisco, like it was pretty brutal. Like dudes on his knees taking arrows to the body, like. Into the thigh. In the thigh, yeah. And of course, like we do the whole "I'll stay behind." Jabi's had death flags for a while, which is good that they subverted that a little bit.
I'm like, all right, you gonna die this time, nigga. Like,
yeah, they set it up so like he's past his prime. He's getting hurt by niggas he would have washed, whatever. Milo and Bisco, the roles are reversed. Milo's carrying Bisco out of there. He gets shot like 5 times in the back. They do the
You see the rust growing up his fucking neck as he's moving. Like,
Yep. Like they put enough threat. They put our heroes at like both at the highest point and the lowest point, and all this shit happened in one fucking episode. Like this was like Dragon Ball Z. This would be 8 episodes long. Like every little twist would have been its own fucking shit. So like they were moving. But if you really think about it, not actually a lot happened. Like it immediately started with. Almost all the major players being at the next location, so they cut out any like travel or traversal. There was pretty much just one long scene with Kurokawa, Milo, and Bisco. Took about like half of the episode. The other stuff was sort of like, it was a flashback thing I hate the most, but it was a flashback that was like very recent, had a lot of action, built up a lot of characters before we saw them, and then had some resolution. I think Pawu's probably going to show up to bail him, to bail somebody out. Either it's helping Jabi out or helping the team out. It would be really to type if she intended to save Jabi but wound up having to save her brother and Bisco. Jabi dies, because that would kind of be the right outcome here, because Kurokawa lived, and so he's gonna be the antagonist at least for the rest of this season. Like getting revenge on this guy, it's got to come from somewhere. So to have him like not kill Pawu, but wind up being the reason why Jabi died, is very like Obi-Wan Darth Vader, right? Like in the original also, Star Wars.
Even thinking about like the reveal that he's a mushroom keeper, it makes what happened last episode about like the antibacterial stuff, the coating. I was like, oh. I like it. He mentioned it, and I just went along with it. But now I'm just like, oh, that makes sense that you would know that shit can like impede the mushroom growth because you're.
There's a trope in what I would call like more like comedy or more surreal stories of like the dangerously genre savvy character or villain, where like they kind of wink at the audience like, I know what the fuck this is. Like, I've seen action movies. I'm in an action movie. This is what I gotta do. Kurokawa is like the villain version of that, where until we got that reveal, a lot of the stuff he was doing felt like he was like playing in a story, right? Like, oh, this is the part where I laugh, dramatically and threaten the hero or whatever. And then when he started doing things that were in universe smart, you had to ask that question. It's like, what does he know versus is this just writing to get us to put people in peril? No. There's an explanation. He would know about that stuff because, surprise, he was a mushroom keeper. Okay, cool. You don't gotta give me any more than that. This is the back arrow situation. I don't need a lot to hang my hat on. You know what I mean?
Because also I have faith enough in the series to know that you're gonna get around to it.
Yeah, and they get away with a lot through sheer bravado, like scenes that don't make any sense or ideas that are wacky as fuck.
I saw some people say that. I saw someone say that this week's episode was all over the place and nothing makes sense anymore. And I was like,
couldn't be further from the truth.
I was like, so you just lack critical comprehension skills.
It's the opposite. This is actually one of the most grounded,
Yes.
narrowly focused episodes they have ever produced. Like, there was no random animal creepy thing with no explanation. There was no, like, big panning shot of an area that looks like a lot of shit happened, and we have no idea why. Like,
we got answers and we got payoffs.
Yeah,
like,
and it was literally
non-stop.
like people in small rooms talking to each other for like 15 minutes. Like,
Yes,
I don't know
so much happened in that little room for the majority of the episode.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, it's boom and boom. This is it. This is the episode.
When you see these like 1 hour dramas, some of my favorite episodes in them are box episodes. That's the episode where the production team realized that they don't have enough money to stretch out to do all the things they want. And so they'll pick certain episodes and they'll be like, okay, we're going to come up with something that sticks all of our main characters in like one room for like 50 to 90% of the episode. And it's all just dialogue and like back and forth because they want to save money so they can do like the big, special effects laden or location driven episode.
Location. Yeah.
Right. Like these like box episodes, I think to me are actually some of the most telling because they show you whether or not the strengths of the writing and the characters that we got are good enough to carry the drama without a bunch of extra wacky random bullshit happening. And that's kind of, I'm sure that that's not what the intent was here, because again I think this is following the manga pretty directly, so I don't know if that really is what's happening, but like all they did was put all of the major characters in the story in like the same building in the same room and had them fight each other or yell at each other, and then they ran outside. There was almost nothing like crazy in this episode at all.
And honestly, I mean, Kurokawa's motives, they make sense.
Yes!
They make absolute fucking sense, where he's just like, if you introduce this shit, I'm gonna stop making money.
Yeah, very logical. And I know it's a much longer series, and I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, I don't think this guy is the main antagonist.
I don't think no
at all.
I honestly think it's probably going to end up being the government who have similar motives to Kurokawa.
So this is a tension, and I'd love to see what your opinion about this is, but like when you have to come up with like a first serious villain in a series, doesn't matter what the genre is, and the audience is aware that this person is a stepping stone to get to whatever the next thing. So they're not like, you're going to invest time in them, but not too much, because you got to come to an end with whatever they're doing. In my opinion, I think it's important to like give those types of characters lots to chew on, a lot of like, charisma, a lot of smoke, but don't make it so obvious that they're just a mook at the end of the day. Right? They're not just, right? And I think, like, I was back and forth because I never read the manga, so I was like, so they're giving Kurokawa, over the course of this, like, a lot of moments, and we're learning about him, but I feel like he's really more of, like, a B villain. He even says it in this episode. I thought
the same, yeah.
Yeah, he says it in this episode, like, I'll go from being just, like, a good manager somewhere lower down in this organization to being on top. So now I actually have a motivation for this guy to be as... to explain why he was so fixated on the situation. They gave me a backstory that supports that makes sense. They gave me a chronologically current reason why he would be going after our heroes and the way that he's doing it, and also the fact that if he's not the big bad, all the stuff he's been doing has been kind of like small bore, right? Like he's got his little security guys running around, and he's like kind of beefing with the cops via Poo and her people. But his plan is to go from a small fry to becoming a big dude. So yeah, he is just a mid-tier enemy, but he's gotten our heroes down lower than we've ever seen him. Like, Bisco has not been recognized as like the strongest guy that anyone has ever seen.
Yeah.
And he outsmarted him and weakened him and did all the things that you would need to do to win. So this is not a dummy. Like, Kurokawa
I saw someone say that. They said that Kurokawa should have died like 5 times this episode. And it's kind of just like, well, once you saw the mechanical arm, you should have known better.
Yeah. And I mean, look, you can make that argument about anything, but like, if we keep it just in the lore of what we've learned through the show, Kurokawa is a smart villain. He's a weirdo, You know, he's
but that's also why he plays around, because he's constantly outsmarting people to the point where he doesn't really have to try.
And he's overconfident, right? Because he thinks that he's seen these angles before, and he knows. He even says it. He's like, you know, if you were at full strength, you'd wash me. Like that. Like he admits that, like up front. And yet, he has been the one who has more or less been, you know, I won't say in control, but has been a step ahead of the heroes and managed to create a situation where he has a legit chance to win. And he survived. So he's going to be desperate. He's going to do all the things you want in your kind of first tier of guys. It's like when you know you go back and you watch Bleach, that first arc, if Bleach had ended right there, you know, like they had built up all of this conflict with like Byakuya and whatever else. Now we know, because we watched, that them niggas became like, get your ass down there. Like you the backup squad. The power scaling went this way, all the other Gote 13 niggas went this way. You know what I mean? But like if it had ended in that first season or the first story, the way they built everybody up inside of that storyline, what made the resolution, the final clash, mean something. If Bisco could just punch Kurokawa in the face and he was just this like really weird, jokey, kind of like weeb of a adversary who just like, as the commenter may have said, should have died 1,000 times and just got lucky, that kind of diminishes the heroes, because the heroes didn't overcome anything. It's like One Punch Man, right? As soon as our main characters show up, it's a wrap for the bad guys. You don't want that to be the case.
They have to fuck with life.
Exactly. So your choice is either you have to scale the bad guys' power in ways that make no sense in order to have the clash be equal, or you gotta make them smart enough in the universe to solve our heroes, to be like, oh, I got your ass. Oh, you're gonna do this? I already took care of that shit. Oh, this is your motivation? I'm gonna get to you in this other way. So all that said, I was feeling this episode. I was along for the ride, and then it ended, and I'm like, I knew Violet wasn't gonna die, but I bit a little bit on like when he made that face. I was worried. Yeah.
The way that they animated that face, it was
that's the death face. That's the like. Yes.
I was like,
And then the preview for the next episode is like they're talking to each other in heaven, and I'm just like, damn, bro, don't do this.
Bisco bloody as fuck walking through the fire.
Bro, I'm ready. Especially if he thinks Milo dies, and then he just turns it up a notch. Like if he thinks Milo and Javi both die.
Milo, I don't think they're gonna kill Milo, but like. They made me second guess for a second.
I mean, look, they got balls. Wow. You could argue that
Milo's... And then it ends up being Pawu and Bisco.
Right. You could argue that, like, there is an end to Milo's character arc, and we kind of got it here, where, like, in the beginning, it was Bisco whisking him away, and he's a strong guy. Milo has grown. He's gotten strong. He's found his own way to fight. He showed that he can stand up for himself and the things he believes in. He never compromised his character. So he was willing to give up everything to save his friends and his family, even when it was obvious to the bad guys. Like, well, once you give me what I need, I can kill you. But it's fine, because I believe Milo would do that. He wasn't doing something that was out of character. And then he could die. He could die here. You could kill him right here and have him, you know, he has solved the rust problem, or at least he's found
which is the thing that made me think they might actually do it, because his reason for being part of this shit has
been resolved. Yes, he's had his primary issue addressed. So you could see a world where they kill him off, and then it's like Bisco and Pawu, maybe she inherits some part of his will to do whatever, and then they're on to the next part of the story. Jabi could die too. So everybody loses somebody.
Somebody dying.
Yeah, somebody gotta die. I think somebody gotta die. But if Kurokawa could survive what the fuck happened to him in this episode,
Yeah. Also, Jellyfish hasn't shown back up.
True, so. That's right. So that's a whole other loose end. The last thing I'll say is that Octagawa actually got a moment too at the end of the episode.
I forgot about that nigga. I had completely forgotten about him, and then he showed up, and I was like, "Yes, this makes sense." Yes, with the fully regrown
arm. Yeah, I saw that, and no one was in the house. I was like, "Oh, this is some crab shit right now. This is my nigga right here."
Oh my god.
Some crab shit. So, all in all,
yeah,
I look forward to this show every week.
Complete opposite complete opposite. Like, just
they're just ballsy. They go for it. They're like,
yes.
yeah.
Which, so, I mean, this is giving me, I mean, it's not the same shit that was going through, like, Back Arrow, but, like, when Back Arrow was airing, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what them niggas about to do this week.
Yeah, like, see, like,
what are y'all about to do?
You hit on it a while ago, which is, like, they had such, they're so confident in the farce of what is going on that, like, they just feel like they could do anything they want to do right now. Any weird, like, creature shows up, any, you know, played out idea that's in other shows, but there's so much, like, they're on a roll. It felt like in the story.
Yeah,
like, yeah, whatever, we can fucking do this shit. And the voice actors are killing it. Like, they're on another planet.
Kenjiro Suda had so much fun this episode. I was literally squirming because I was just like, the inflections, yeah. I'm like, this nigga's playing. Like, this nigga's having so much fun with this right now, but it fit the character.
Yes, 100%. The place where I started paying attention more this episode started from the very beginning when they do the Milo flashback and you finally hear what was said on the thing. And I said again, nobody was at home. Like, whenever you have characters who are like, testing. Yeah. Like they're just sort of like deadpanning for like what's going on, but like hamming it the fuck up. It can only go one of two ways. Either it's a disaster and it's horrible, or it's the greatest thing that you've ever seen.
Yes.
In that moment.
And that's when I knew that I was like, this nigga is loving this. Like, that whole broadcast, and in the way where he was like, wait, hold on a sec, I'm about to beat this bitch. Like, it was like, oh my God, just...
Why are you saying things that I'm going to think about when we're done? I was like, what kind of a line is that? What is going on?
I love, just phenomenal.
It's fun. It's just fun. Yeah. A lot of fun.
And that's what you should want from a show. So yeah, everyone will probably pick this shit up in like 4 years and be like, no one ever said anything.
It's gonna air on Adult Swim. People are gonna be like, holy shit, what is this? It'll get all the clips.
Because this is an Adult Swim show. This is one of those shows where you come in and you watch that random episode and you're like, what the fuck is
exactly.
This?
And
what is this?
No shade, because I think this other show I'm gonna mention is doing just fine, but like this feels more like an Adult Swim show than Shenmue does, which is currently on. I like Shenmue. I like what they're doing. It's a good show, but that one feels like an American company hired someone to make an anime for Americans because of like the way it's presented and drawn. It does look in motion fantastic and does a better job capturing the story than the third game. You know, like I actually do recommend people go and check it out, but it is mainstream, so it's not like anyone doesn't know it exists. But like this, Sabakui Bisco feels like the type of show that Adult Swim was built on. Yes, it's fucking very Trigun wacky, but like still a lot of heart. Everyone's got heart, you know, and it's shonen, but it's weird. So yeah, it's good.
Alrighty. Cool. Did you watch anything else this week?
I did, but I was gonna throw that at you because I have some comments about one show in particular. So what did you watch?
I just watched Dress Up Doll. I didn't watch any Realist, and I spent an excessive amount of time watching BL. So
which one or the
so I've actually been looking into the Korean BLs, which they're starting to make like live actions. And one of the reasons why I got into one of the live action ones was because there was a video game, like an anime video game that didn't have a BL, but there was a manhwa sequel to the video game that I had read, and apparently like the live action series was the video game's like storyline, and then apparently there's going to be a second season that's going to adapt the actual manhwa. So I went down that, and then I started watching a whole bunch of other Korean stuff, and then I ended up on Japanese BLs again, and it's still no competition. Like, it just really is. Like, Thailand better step their shit up because like Korea, because Thailand used to be like the place where it's like nonstop BLs like all year, and all of them weren't the best quality, but like it was content. And now Korea is just like, oh well, we know how to tell a story. These niggas just still uncomfortable kissing each other. Now it's like, okay, well we're not gonna hire idols anymore, so the guys are gonna be more comfortable kissing each other. And Japan is literally just like, yeah, these niggas are fucking on TV. We're like right below M, like we like right below, so like we can air this shit. So spent that. I did a whole bunch of like research into like other BLs that are about to get animated, and even like going into like the Crunchyroll stuff with like Cherry Maho, like the 30-year-old virgin. Crunchyroll bringing that live action over on its platform, and then that movie about to come out now. Just all shit's cooking. It's cooking. But I primarily just watched Dress Up Darling and Sasaki Tomiyano. Ooh, pardon me. Which one thing I will say is that Sasaki Tomiyano definitely took it a little step further where it got a little bit toxic, but y'all, like, it's BL. Like, niggas love seeing that shit. That's kind of one of the reasons why they watch it. So it can be fluffy, but it's gonna be toxic because it's BL. That's just one of the things that comes along with it, unless it's like stated otherwise. And My Dress Up Darling was just fucking phenomenal. Someone told me that they had a new animation director. That's why so much of the shit was different. Because that scene where like Juju was like shuffling away from him, and then the beach, like the way that the waves were animated, and in that like scene where I was like, something's so different because this is not the regular like animation that we usually get. So yeah, that was all of that.
Well, you can only sustain that effort like
for so long. But that was the thing though. I really wasn't even like asking for much from like the previous episodes, because it was just like, listen, they gonna show that's what I know. Apparently someone told me this. The person who's the animation director for Chainsaw Man is the one that's been doing the animation for the Magical Girl shit and Dress Up Darling.
I was wondering about that because they do find a way to make. Yeah, I'm like, this could actually be a legit show.
It's pretty cure. I'm literally like, bruh, this is pretty cure fight. In the most recent episode where Homegirl jumped off the fucking top of the building and just went. I was like, this is Pretty Cure. Like, what I feel like
I'm learning more about Pretty Cure through this show.
Because that's literally what the fuck it is.
Yes.
I'm literally like, bruh, they literally have taken like multiple Pretty Cure, like similar storylines, put this shit in here, and they said, we're only gonna give you the fight scenes. I love it. Like,
yeah, sign me up for that shit.
Yeah, like that's because that's what I'm watching. Like, so like, yeah, like, dude. Yeah,
sign me the fuck up.
The level of detail on the fucking Magic Girl animation inside of another show, I'm like, this is so excessive. Why are you doing this? Like, what? I mean, I love it, but why?
So I will tell you that my favorite part of this week's episode was actually like the first 3 minutes where they're the follow-up conversation basically to meeting Juju. There are things that I appreciate. I mean, look, at this point, we know what this show is in all of its facets, like whether it's the interpersonal dynamics and the relationships that are building, whether it's the fan service, whether it's like the cosplay, or even what we just talked about, like these sort of ancillary fake franchises that are the excuse for why everyone's doing everything in the world. But you know, we've been here before, because when we saw like that Arrow gay, right, like they put some effort into a lot of shit. But the thing that always impresses me is when they put effort into things that only like a nerd for the subject matter is going to give a shit about. And the when they were describing basics of like why you would do like depth of field stuff with your cinematography,
I
and your
never
framing.
knew what a fisheye lens did until this episode.
Yeah, and like that they were very realistic, that those shits do be costing thousands of dollars. Like, no lie. Like, one of my friends is really into photography, and when he told me he spent $12,000 on a camera, like in total, it wasn't like just a camera, but like all the
I hear
attachments.
like the entry level cameras for like good shit they start at like $1,400.
Yeah, that's about right.
And that's just the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So Juju was exactly right. Where she was like, "You need a tripod."
She was on point.
Shit.
I think that was the cheapest one they showed on that list. Was like a 13. It was the equivalent of about $1,300, and they were going up. I'm like, yeah, that's actually that whole experience of like, cameras are cool. Oh, it's so awesome. You could do this, this, and this. Let me go see what they cost. And then you look them up and be like, fuck me. Yeah. So it just I think stuff like that is, in my opinion, more important for the show being good than even like the high quality animation and everything else, because it has to be grounded somewhere. And if I'm looking at a show about cosplay, which I do not do, starring a bunch of people who do not look like me in a culture I do not live in, but I can say that in this episode,
you really don't even fuck with.
And I don't fuck with. Yeah. I can tell you for a fact, in this episode, I felt, something that I have felt before. Like that feeling of like you want to get into a hobby, you see all the cool stuff, and then you get sticker shock for real with real dollar amounts on real shit. Where you're like, fuck me,
like entry level.
Yeah,
entry level. Yeah.
And then they have a very serious conversation about it. And then, the story moves on where it's going to go. I appreciate stuff like that because you don't fucking have to do it. You don't have to do it. I watched Ari Ferretta this week, which is basically just a beach episode where everybody gets naked. And, like, that show knows what its audience... It doesn't have to do... It often does not do anything else but the shit that is going to serve that audience. Though it weirdly has turned into, like, a family drama, where the main character has just chosen... I mean, I guess we knew this. He's fucking just the vampire chick. So he chose. Like, it's a harem, but he is already completely chosen. And, like, all the off time is, like, spent around him being a dad to this, like, little girl. I don't want to get off and talk about this series. Okay. But, like, it's... when it's not doing fantasy stuff and fan service stuff, it is sort of just like it's a weird... like poly family drama. Like that's what it is. It's like this nigga made his little polycule, and then they introduce a child, and then everyone is like, all right, we gotta figure out how to raise this child. It's weird, it's extra, it adds a little bit, but when I can look at something like Dress Up Darling, there's never a point where I'm watching like an isekai and I'm like, yeah, and I can relate. I can't relate to any of this shit. Like, what the fuck is this? So tangent, but yeah.
Also, one thing that I liked about the episode, outside of the just liking it all, was Juju's scene where she was upfront and honest about being jealous. And I was like... Yes, yeah. I was like, oh, shit. And the way that she immediately resolved it herself within the same fucking, like, conversation, and was like, yeah, I was jealous. Like, this random girl showed up. She had dresses that were way better than me. I thought that I deserved them, only to come and meet her after calling her a bitch in my head nonstop to find out that she's literally, like, someone that I, like, wants to be my best friend. Because she's, like, on the same wavelength as me. Yes, yeah. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, yay. Therapy wasn't needed or nothing. Like, no 3-episode, like, Juju's not talking to us anymore. What's going on? No, the catalyst was like, I worked through my shit.
Yeah, this is such a weird fucking show because it basically... So the Bechdel test is when two women, you if you look across a script, and if you ever have a situation where two women have a conversation that does not in any way involve a man or the male lead, then by that low standard, which is how low we are, then it has passed the Bechdel test, right? There's another version of it where if women are able to resolve their problems themselves without any intuition from the male to save them, like, that's another level of situation. And that's what's great about this series, is that, like, Gojo, he's not a incel. He's not like, necessarily like afraid of women. He's a kid. He's 15, right? So he just
lacks experience.
But like his relationship with all these people is just as human beings. It's like I'm trying to become a professional in this other art field, and I'm meeting people who in their own areas are just as serious about what they're trying to do as what I'm trying to do, and I'm becoming friends with them, and also we're helping each other get better. But my relationship with these people is like, I don't know you or what's happening with you, and I'm just here to listen. 9 times out of 10, I'm just here to listen. Like, whatever it is you got going on, he doesn't usually give much in the way of. When it comes
to the dress, let me know.
Right. He doesn't give a lot of advice. He's very just open-minded about whatever the fuck is happening, even when he's freaking the fuck out. And then it enables scenes like this where a person can be vulnerable, but it doesn't center the dude. He's just there. He's just and as convincingly. Yeah.
As a friend.
Yeah.
And that's it. Also, just Mannnnn is the best fucking, like, girl. Like, I honestly, in the past few years for me, because what was the first thing that came up where he looked at that price? She was like, all right, I guess I can pick up a few extra shifts.
Yeah.
That's it. I was like, oh, I want it. I'm going to get it.
That's the mentality of somebody who is actually passionate about a hobby.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not saying all of us can just like magically, pop money into existence when we want something. But like the mentality is, oh, I'm prioritizing this shit. And when you're a teenager, you kind of get your first jobs. Like that is literally all you think about. Yeah. You're like, oh, bro, I don't have much in the way of money, so whatever I get is getting plowed into like one thing, whatever that is.
Like.
Yeah. I would work all summer myself, like because I like video games. That was my thing. And I wasn't just like, oh, I'm buying the latest Madden. I would plan it out. I'd be like, here's the price list at the beginning of the summer. I got to come up with $380 or whatever the amount of money was when the shit is available. And I would grind all summer to have enough money so that for the rest of the school year when I couldn't work, I could afford to buy like one game that I wanted per month. And that was where all of my cash went, is games and books.
Oh.
So like, again, I love it when I can just relate to a feeling that a character has without having to embody anything about them. Like, I ain't trying to be Mannnnn. Like that ain't. I'm not interested in that shit.
But you respect the hustle. You respect the passion.
And that she's such a focused, earnest individual. Where, like, yeah, she's got an inner thought, like, because she's in love with the main character. So, like, that's the part that's not expressed. But as far as, like, her interaction, I don't doubt that if this was a real person and I was, watching this or had was in that person's presence, I would not doubt anything that they had to say. There is no ambiguity about her or much of any of the characters in the series. So, I think that's very refreshing. I had a good time with it.
I agree.
What
did you watch outside of that?
I'm not gonna like review the other stuff but it's great. I still say if you're not adding Genius Prince just to your general weekly watches, you are missing out on like folks getting embarrassed and rolled every week. This motherfucker is like one step ahead, and when he's not one step ahead, the comedy of the things that are happening is. It's not too overstated. It's not too low key. It rides that line of like wacky, but still grounded enough that you empathize with all the people in the situation that these folks are in. And it's, it's like the dark counterpart to Realist Hero, where like Realist Hero is like everyone's just it's a city building, game, but told narratively. Whereas like Genius Prince is like an accidental empire building game, but told actually completely straight shooter, because exactly what the main character is thinking, and there's enough other characters that know about his foibles that nothing gets past them. Yeah. And the ones who are oblivious to it can either be like really good supporting characters or good comedy where they're misunderstanding everything that he's doing. And like, they think he's just like, just the most upstanding, wonderful, noble guy. And he's like, God damn it. Oh, this fucking sucks. I'm just trying to leave. Get me out of here. So it's good. It's good shit.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. All
right. Well, let's tackle this news. Because I got a lot. Oh my God. Okay. So first and foremost, the nostalgia just like swept over me, but Zatch Bell is continuing.
Unbelievable.
And, oh my god.
Unbelievable.
Where did this come from? I'm like, I saw the news and I was like, oh, someone's trolling. And I'm like, wait, no, they're reporting on this. Like, it's coming back. Like, just the nostalgia. The nostalgia. Actually, I never even finished the shit. I watched
it's true. I think I only watched what was dubbed and they never finished.
Yeah, I only watched what was dubbed. I think that the dub was like the second to last arc. There was like, third to last arc. There were like 2 more arcs after that, and then it was the end. Because they dubbed, I felt pretty far. Like, all the shit that went down in that castle, I was like, is this the end? Because this is kind of a lot, but it wasn't. But even so, yay. Like, I don't know who the fuck like greenlit this, but thank you, because I'm
looks like it's a new characters or something is happening here?
Oh, I thought it was a...
Did you see the cover that was released?
Oh, they're new... Are those new characters? I thought that was the same homeboy.
Well, the little the Zatch wasn't isn't it a female in this one?
Oh shit.
I could be wrong. I don't know anything. I just looked at the cover. I'm like, I recognize one of these, but like, is this the same? Because I never read it to the end, so I don't know anything other than what aired on TV.
I just assumed that it was the same ones because they've been shopping around this photo here. I don't know.
I'm not saying nothing.
Hey. And Kiyomaru's destiny is about to change. What? No, that's just the original thing. All right, okay. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for more.
I'm genuinely curious. Like there've been some revivals where I'm like, I'm somewhat interested, but you know, this one is weird because I've only. How do I say this? I watched it at a period of time where I was into anime, but I wasn't able to get to like finish anything. So like my experience watching Zatch Bell was like I'd see 4 episodes that were like chronologically in order, and then I would like lose it, and then I would come back to it, and I would see another set of episodes that were somewhere else in the series, and I always had like fond memories of watching it, but I don't have the narrative of the story. And then I found out later that they had not adapted everything, and the stuff that I was watching was like actually a lot further ahead. So like I kind of want to. There's 2 shows I want to go back to on that. Zatch Bell is one of them, but Cardcaptor Sakura is another one where like they had it was just a weird localization for the US.
And that's why I never got into Cardcaptor, because the people who love Cardcaptor, they're like, this shit's dark. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, apparently this shit's fucking wild.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, damn, I never knew that, and that's because my only exposure to it was the Americanized version, which I don't even think they really even finished.
They didn't, like, and they moved episodes around chronologically. They cut a lot of shit out of it.
Sense. And it didn't make sense. Like, new characters and powers were popping up, and I was like,
who are you? And then people acted like they already knew them because they did, because they were in episodes that had gotten removed.
Yeah. So I'm ready. Bring it on. I also mentioned this one earlier, but the film for Cherry Maho, the first trailer dropped. It looks fucking phenomenal. The only thing is Crunchyroll, you need to get it over here sooner rather than later. You're not going to put it in theaters, so just go ahead and stream it. Just bring it over here. Just like get your translator on it and put it up there for the Fudanchis and the Fujoshis. Like, you want it, you know it, you put it up there. It literally it's so popular. Like, it's so popular in Japan. Like, I just wish I could just like communicate to people how popular this shit is. It's so, and the thing is, it's popular because it's good. It's actually a good story. Like, the smut is not even part of it. It's just a really good fucking story of him interacting with people. And but I mean, y'all know I done recommended Cherry Maho like so many times on this shit. Okay, so next topic, motherfuckers. Let's talk about Netflix actually might be putting out a movie that I might actually have to stand. This bubble shit looks good.
So we had seen this trailer or there was a preview for this that I want to say was like 4 months ago that I had seen.
I completely missed that shit.
I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it was on Netflix. I remember seeing a trailer for it and being like, "Oh fucking hell! What are they doing here with this shit?"
Yeah, that was the perfect trailer. That was the perfect trailer. You put the names of the motherfuckers that we know spaced out perfectly, and then the theme song with the action at the end, and then you ending it with like a scene. I'm excited. I'm ready. Now, that wasn't Sawano Hiroyuki's music with like the band singing. Of course, I know that. But then you got Uro Butcher.
My man.
Writing the storyline.
My man.
I already know.
Took a break from Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 4 to come in and probably murder a whole bunch of people.
I was like, the moment I saw his name, I was like, so the majority of them are dying.
Yes. Yeah.
Or at least one of the leads is dying. Okay.
Everybody gotta go, man.
Everybody
gotta go.
Everybody.
Get him out of here.
I'm thinking of that paired with Sawano's music. I'm just like, what is going to happen?
So the classic Gen Orobuchi bullshit setup for tragedy, the main character has to watch one or both of his parents get murdered in front of him. This is in like everything he ever does. There's always like that. The if you're a Zeta Gundam, when they put Camille's mother in the fucking pod out in space and shit. Like what the fuck? Like just to think about that. What the fuck is wrong with you? But
leave it to him.
Man,
I'm excited. Crazy. I'm excited. It looks gorgeous. Yes, there's some CG aspects of it. I don't care.
No, the CG looks fine, especially with the art style that they're working with.
Yes, it's kind of like a cell shaded-esque kind of thing going on. Also, it looks gorgeous. So I'm excited. As someone who usually doesn't really even like give Netflix animes much of like, you know, a highlight. Like I plan to watch The Great Pretender because I hear nothing but like amazing things about that. But this is the first one where I'm just like, I'm watching the like. When it drops, like I'm on that shit. Like I want to experience this
because it looks fucking fantastic. Everything about it just looks fucking great. It sounds great. It's colorful. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. It looks, you know, so it's weird. So I like weird shit. Yeah, give me the weird shit.
Like, this leading this back to like one of the previous conversations that we had about what's gonna happen with Netflix and all this anime shit and in studios. If this is the beginning of the payoff, okay.
Yeah, okay. And I like weird. Do more weird original stuff.
Yeah, this is weird because she definitely is like slightly deformed in some of the scenes. So I'm just like, okay.
Like I saw like a weird god looking thing. I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. Like go more things like this and less things like, oh well, according to our spreadsheet, people like to watch a giant robot, girls with big boobs, and like let's have a tie-in with Nike. Okay.
Now, I would like if I had seen a robot in the trailer, I would have actually liked it.
I agree. You can only have so much.
Yeah, you can only have so much. But if they had sprinkled a mech in there, I would have been like, "Oh, bitch, this is a classic!" Immediately. Like,
Now it would be
actually,
be like
this gives me Erecta 7 vibes because of the water.
It would be such a Netflix / like, you know, modern streaming bullshit situation to find out that like this whole series is bankrolled by like a running shoe like company or something, some doing athletic gear. It's just like to bring us all back down to reality.
And you know what? I would still watch. I'm still gonna.
I would probably still watch it if it looks as good.
And you know what? They might even get my ass to buy.
Did you see? This is like it's anime adjacent, but like Acura, they put out the car company. They released a series of like anime shorts, and I'm like looking at this like it's actually kind of cool.
They look good. They look good.
Look pretty fucking good.
Yes.
I was sitting there like, wow, you know, will I take an anime from a car company? The answer is yes.
Yes. Who on your marketing team pushed that through? Good job.
Yeah. Like I mean, I didn't realize until very recently that I actually really loved Initial D. I used to think that it was a thing that I watched, and like I had no connection to it. I'm not like a tuner guy. I'm not into cars or racing or drifting. But like I had I watched the original show way back with its horrible like CG and all that other stuff, and in my head, I think I just had this thought like, oh well, it was just a thing that I watched. I saw from the movies they did like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, the last one. I saw it. I'm like, bro, I think I love Initial D. I think I actually unironically love this series, and it made me want to go back and rewatch the original anime with all the bad CG, and I did, and I fucking loved all the Eurobeat music, and I'm like, it's like he's gonna take that corner line, and they have all these classic cars that I've been to, and I'm like, bro, all right, I got, I tricked myself. This shit is good. So I saw those accurate things. I'm like, they just basically made like Initial D, but with like a father-daughter story woven in there somewhere. I'm like, just produce that. I'll accept that.
Mappa is starting a CGI studio. That's great. We'll see what happens. There's this alleged gender discriminatory hiring practices at Studio White Fox. Y'all can't be doing this shit. Like, you need everybody you can get, I feel at this point, because what?
It's Japan.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Japan. And then one of the most out of fucking I'm telling y'all, this was like nowhere within my fucking realm of thought. We're getting a live action Beyblade movie. What?
Huh?
I'm not mad at it. I'll buy some Beyblades. Now listen, don't get it twisted. I will buy some fucking Beyblades. If you got specific movie Beyblades for this shit, I'll buy. I'll invest. Where did this come from?
Oh, I'll tell you where it motherfucking came from. Came from all the money Beyblade been printing on the low for the last like 15 years.
So it must be on the low because like I don't see nobody.
No. You don't have. See the thing. You don't have kids and you're not around like 12-year-olds. So don't ask me how this always happens because I keep wandering into these like corners of the internet or corners of Twitter or these random fandoms. I want to say like 6 to 8 months ago, I discovered Beyblade Twitter.
Yeah.
Through a link because someone had
talked about that.
I think we did, but like I didn't realize that like we mentioned like cameras. Oh, an entry-level camera is going to cost you, $1,300. And, like, for us civilized humans, we're like, oh, that's a lot of money right there. Oh, yeah, that's a luxury item. Fuck me if I didn't realize before, like, Beyblade parts, premium Beyblade parts, like, that are metal. This is not just, like, plastic shit. Like, there's a lot. Don't ask me what they are.
They're using, like, the actual metal?
If you go look up eBay for, like, whatever generation series Beyblade part, because that's the whole gimmick of the toy. Yeah. The toy is that like, you start with a base model and then they periodically release new parts, new gimmicks, new spinners, new all kinds of stuff, and you can trick your shit out to perform better in the actual physical Beyblade game, which people actually play, and these parts are like hundreds of dollars. There are lines that because they stopped making them, but because they're so good. Listen to me. I don't know shit about this
for
fucking
this
game.
Realm. Yeah.
Whatever it is good about them compared to other stuff that gets released. If they were limited edition, they go for hundreds. Sometimes I've seen some shit on eBay like above $1,000 for what looks to me like a couple of metal discs that you would put. Or a topper or something like that.
Yeah, because I think it's like the metal weight that goes into the middle of the shit. Yeah.
But they're all different, and they've been producing them consistently for over a decade. More than that. It's going on 2 decades now. It's fucking crazy.
Right. You are so right. You are so right, because I love me some Beyblades. When I was in that age range, like loved down, like
I missed that. I missed Beyblades
over and over, just watching that shit pop the fuck off. It's so entertaining because like it's kind of like gambling where it's like you really have no control over it after that shit drops into the fucking bowl. But then also it's like, well, what parts you got? What you do to this? Did you put this in that? Da 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 da. So I get it. But I guess, like, I grew the fuck up and I did not stay within that community. And
but I think what should be telling is that
not to
when
say
we
that
go,
like adults shouldn't be in that community.
but when we go down those lists every quarter, and we're like, oh, okay, here's a series that we're following, and then mentally you just check out of like the bottom 30 because they're all like trying to sell a toy or it's the next yokai watch, and like peripherally in your brain you're like, well, these exist but they're crap, so I'm not gonna watch them. But Beyblade has been on TV consistently for fucking 15 years. Like,
I'm looking at this like promotional shit, and I'm just like, who are these other niggas?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know what the fuck this is.
Like, I didn't see none of. Now that's one thing that I'll give Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is hard on their marketing, and they're just like, bitch, a new season, new man, new person. We're doing it. Let's go. Also, side note, shout out to Card Fight Vanguard Dress Up. Whatever. And it's this one Sakuga scene that's going around Twitter. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm not gonna watch the show. But that shit looked hard as fuck. Them niggas was fighting. So shout out to them, because that's definitely another continuing like card series-esque thing.
And here's some other wild fucking shit, just for people to wrap their minds around, because sometimes I forget this, and I'm the one who's always looking at all these numbers and everything else. So we talk about Beyblade. Shit's been around since like 99, 2000, somewhere thereabouts is when I think the toy itself became like a thing. I think it may have been by like 2000, 2001 that there was actually an anime involved.
Yeah. Oh, no, I remember that because I would wake up every morning and be like, Beyblade anime, let's go.
So, Hasbro has the international licensing rights for Beyblade, okay? Hasbro tried to buy the Tokara, which is the company that made Beyblade. They couldn't afford that.
What?
like Hasbro's big. It was, as far as like acquisitions go, they were asking for too much money because in Japan they were just printing money hand over fist, and then Hasbro was like, well, we see the damage y'all doing over there, and we can get a little bit of piece of that pie in America. Let's go full partnership, buy it. The Japanese were like, bro, all you getting is a licensing deal. And they have both been eating. That's why the movie is happening, because Hasbro has been, if you think about it, the last 7 years, going on 10 now, they've been trying to take all of their top selling toy franchises and turn them into movie franchises, including shit that makes no sense, like Battleship. Remember they tried to get the Battleship movie popped off with Liam Neeson and fucking Rihanna was in that movie.
Oh, that shit.
Yes. That wasn't like a sci-fi film. That was Battleship, the board game. They were trying to turn into something. I didn't
know that.
And they obviously they also have the Transformers rights as well. So that franchise,
they've been, oh my god,
right? So they looking at Beyblade, they're like, bro, this makes more money in toys than Transformers does. Let's go, bitch. Let's go. We got the international licensing rights to make it happen.
Thinking about those visual effects and like, oh my god, no, I can see this shit. Oh, they're gonna make so much money.
They're gonna make stupid money.
They're gonna make stupid money because I'm going back in my mind. One of the main things was like when the show started having like the mythic animals like come out of the Beyblade and fight each other. They can make some shit now where when it spins, it's like a hologram.
They did fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robots twice. Like, this is easy.
This is gonna be insane.
And they'll sell limited edition Beyblade movie tie-in shit. So
I will buy it. I will buy it.
I'm a shit all over this movie, but it's just gonna make its money.
Oh, it's probably gonna make, it's probably gonna be ass, but I will be so interested in you know what? I want to go see what's going on Beyblade TikTok. I bet there's Beyblade TikTok.
Oh, there is.
Oh my god.
No question about that.
But yeah, that piece of news blew my fucking mind. That and Zatch Bell. Like, same week. Like, what is...
And they're getting real people attached to this movie, too. Like legit directors. Because it's a payday.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah, it's a fucking payday. It's such a payday. It makes it... Like, the movie will make its money. The studio... It's like how we talked about... like Silence, like that company, the one that does
Yeah.
like they make so much fucking money that they can do anything that they want at all with, like, if they want to throw an anime out there for something, or Grand Blue this or whatever, like they can afford to actually waste money.
They actually just did something like that on YouTube where they made like a literal, like, I think it's like 2 minutes to 3 minutes
for that other one
video.
Oh, music video. I was thinking of that what's that tower defense gotcha game with like the fuck, what is the name of it?
What do they
Arc
look like?
something? Arc Knights?
Arc Knights, yeah.
Yeah, you saw they've released like an anime short for that shit.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah,
and it looked fantastic. I'm sure that like the marketing budget probably could have been spent somewhere else, but they're like, I will give you like 7 to 8 minutes of like high quality animation.
Just made a YouTube video where literally it's just all just like random characters from their shit, just all fighting in a city.
Sure, why not?
Just like
who
pure
cares?
saga.
Who cares? I'm sure they spent like a couple $1 million on that.
Yeah.
Who fucking, they have play money. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Play money, literally. They're making that back with one character banner.
That's so sad. It's probably true. There's there's like 10,000 people who are like bankrolling this company into the tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars.
We haven't even seen anything yet because I honestly believe that MiHoYo, given another 2 to 3 years, is going to...
Oh, the Genshin, a thing for Genshin. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
How much money did they make? I think they made like... Did they make like 10 million? Off the woman who pulls the katana out of her boobs.
Oh, yeah.
Raiden.
Yeah.
She's getting a rerun soon, and a lot of new people have joined the game. The money literally prints itself when gacha, like literally prints itself. So yeah, like side games, shit like this. So if Beyblade's on that kind of level, but just like actual, just like, you know, physical, then yeah, it's a wrap.
That's just a I don't know I literally don't know who that movie is for. Like all the young people in my life have now grown. They're all college age now.
Yeah.
So I don't know enough 10 and 12-year-olds who are clearly the target audience that are going to go ham. But if I go by what I see on like these little Twitter snapshots, like, it's going to be fine. They going to be just fine.
I think that's pretty much it for me for news. I mean, the comic market apparently grew 10% from last year in Japan. Good. That's great. And Dress Up Darling is selling like hotcakes. Even better.
I'm shocked. I'm so shocked. It's the wildest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, and the Crunchyroll Funimation merger is finally happening by the end of the month. So,
they only had to go through like 9 lawsuits. But it's here. It's happening.
It's here. So we gonna see. Also, fuck them for shutting down VRV for this, assholes. VRV
no deal. Nice. No free lunch. Because apparently, so VRV was a good deal. I never was in on it.
VRV was a good deal. It was a good deal. You weren't paid. You basically got Crunchyroll Premium for not Crunchyroll Premium price, plus like 6 other services. It was the obvious way to subscribe, but they were like, no, you guys got away with this shit for way too long. We're taking it away. So they're taking it away.
I guess the only other thing I want to bring up is like, I'm locked in to watching Dragon Ball Super, the Super movie, whatever the fuck that shit comes out. I'm locked into
I was like, you rewatching Super for what?
No. That ain't gonna happen. I'm just saying, when the movie comes out, I'm locked in because I'm a Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah.
I am upset, not because like I don't appreciate getting more stuff, but like now they want to focus on giving the side characters their power-ups in what's probably a non-canon film anyway.
If they give them to them at all.
If they do it at all. Why you gotta say that though? Why you gotta bring
what they're like. Watch them put these niggas on all the promotional material,
and then they get washed in the first fight.
And they get washed in the first fight, and then the an hour and a half movie, the first 30 minutes is them giving us hope, and then the last hour is literally like, actually Goku's the only one that can do this anyway.
You know, there's that's like the entire like meta meta storyline for Gohan and Gohan fans. But, like, how you gonna show me some fucking full potential Piccolo and it's like he's a little bit more yellow than he normally is?
What?
Like, I'm into it because I like fucking Piccolo, but goddamn!
Also, why did it take this long?
It's been 40 years!
Why did it take this long?
40 years! I realized this with One Piece, and, you know, that I'm just gonna die in the midst of these series. Like, I'm not gonna live long enough to get what I want out of it. You know what I mean? Like, Oda will die, but the show...
I heard that, but One Piece is like, isn't it kind of like almost to the final arc?
What I'm saying is that these franchises they're gonna surpass my lifetime. They're gonna be... Yeah. You know, whether the story wraps up or it doesn't, or like, you know...
One Piece is gonna have an immediate sequel.
The best analogy I can make is that when I was a kid, I read a lot of books. I loved to read books. It was like the number one thing I liked to do. I didn't have like TV to watch during the week, so I read books. And so I would tear through shit quick. And I found this author. His name was Chris Bunch, and he wrote like kind of like pop inspired sci-fi stuff, and he felt like he just had a really interesting voice, and I could get through his books like really easily, and I was into the stories, and I'm like, bro, I'm loving this shit. And I was only like maybe 14 at the time, and then all of a sudden he just stopped releasing books. And then I went on the internet and found out, like, after like he'd been silent for 2 years, oh, this nigga died. And I was like, shit. It was, as a kid, it was the first moment that I was like, oh, I'm enjoying the things I'm loving and enjoying. They could just be over, right? The author goes out like they could.
Did you see that thing about people were up in arms about Hunter x Hunter, and they were like, "Oh, blah 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 is going to continue it," and it was like, it's in the case that he dies. Isn't that his wife?
Yes.
So like, I ain't got a problem with that. He probably told her everything.
Yeah, I'm not. So that was one thing, right? You love something, but you outlast it. You know, before it gets to the end, it could go away. You just have to accept that, like, whatever state it was in when it was over, that's the last you're ever going to see of it. So it taught me a lot about, like, just dealing with that kind of a creative loss. But this is another phenomenon that it took me a much longer time to figure out. Star Wars is what fucked me up. But, like, it's the idea that you could love something, but it's going to outlast you. And the thing about it outlasting you is that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to outlast you in a good place. It might be like the zombie version of the thing that you loved. Shit won't die and will shamble on, embarrassing you and your love for it for the rest of your life. Right? Which taught me another lesson about don't build your identity on commercial products because you have no control over where they go and what they do. You don't want to be... I don't want to be the world's... Trust me, I love Star Wars. I was happy to not have been the world's biggest Star Wars fan when them motherfucking prequels came out. Because I ain't got to explain nothing. I ain't got to re-edit my personality and my lifestyle to explain this horrible bullshit. That ain't me. I'm going to let that shit go. I'm just saying, like, Dragon Ball is becoming, like, my... The Star Wars and Dragon Ball, like my two hills to die on, of things that I still think are very cool. They're very cool. But damn it, if these series don't test me, they don't test me on a regular basis. Like, do I want to be associated with this shit? If this movie comes out and we see like slightly yellow Piccolo get washed and then Gohan shows up and he's like, I'm gonna show you my full potential again, and he gets washed, and then I gotta go see Goku just finish the fight again, because who's on the poster? It ain't them motherfuckers. It's not them.
Wait, I thought it was.
I see blue niggas. Like,
wait, there's a new poster now?
I'm just saying every poster that I've ever seen of this thing doesn't make it obvious that like, oh, it's gonna be fucking Piccolo until the last one that they put out where it was like, where it's like, oh, now these motherfuckers are the leads. Like, people are just gonna call this the Jobber movie, the one where like the background characters show up. Like, remember Tien, who I liked a lot originally. Yeah, he'll show up and he'll have a moment. Like, fuck out of here.
That nigga's gonna literally be sitting in a fucking cafe with the pig or some shit, and basically be like, oh, I hope they're okay, because that's all he's been doing.
Yes, and then they'd be giving me the most uninspiring like villains, and then oh my god, please, please, somebody with vision. Like before I die, all right. Toriyama is gonna have to die first, so he has to go. And
yellow Piccolo.
When the fucking full look at the trailer, the one that they dropped, the fucking full potential
there's a new
Piccolo.
trailer.
Yeah, it's like you get like 40 seconds of animation, but like supposedly that's full potential Piccolo. This is a transformation just for this movie. And I'm like, bro, there were so many interesting things that you could have done with Dragon Ball 10, 15 years ago that y'all niggas decided not to because GT scared you to death of doing anything interesting. I feel like it's coming again. Like, I like the Broly movie, but I have to remind myself, there's a lot of people who watched that and didn't know that there were like 2 other Broly movies before this. Like, this one is just retconning, or rather making official the shit that we all thought about but knew wasn't part of the real story.
No. All right, so they got me fucked up already. Because why is Pan the damsel in distress? She should be beating ass. She should be beating ass. She was flying as a toddler. Why is she the damsel in distress in this movie?
Because they're not thinking. They're not thinking. Or rather...
Also, it's literally a Piccolo, like, shade.
I told you! Slightly yellow Piccolo. Like, Piccolo ate some, like, bad fish. And it fucked up his color, you know?
Also, I can already tell you, it just looks like Gohan's just getting washed the whole movie.
Yeah.
So, like, I
by a bunch of geeks. Like, who are these people? The little shit with a little ray gun? What is going on? What is going on?
Since you put Android on it, just go ahead and have her, just 17, 18, just have them come through and do what needs to be done.
I'm so fucking stressed out.
Just do it.
Not over this film.
Just do it. Just do it. I love her as a character. I love her fighting style in Fighter Z. Just, give her some shine. That'll redeem something, because I want Goku to have... I can't say that out loud because people just gonna lose their...
Yeah, it's fine. I'll take the heat here for all the shit. Dragon Ball fucking sucks. Okay? It fucking sucks. It has been bad for a very long time, and the reason why it's bad has everything to do with the fact that fans have forgotten, even the creators have forgotten and paid the price for what Dragon Ball always was. Because Dragon Ball from the beginning was just a way for Toriyama to write cool, fun martial arts stuff for kids. Yeah. That's what it was, okay? It wasn't like niggas turning blue. It wasn't like, it wasn't any of that shit. Dragon Ball Z was an attempt to move a lot of those ideas into a rule of cool era of manga. But Dragon Ball, the whole franchise, lives way more in the Dragon Ball space than it ever did in the Z space. The problem is that now that everyone has lived with it for like 50 years or 40 years or however fucking old it is, we've gotten our wires crossed where we think that we got to do all the hyper violence of this Dragon Ball Z because that's what most people associate with it. But all the people involved, they want to be true to that original Dragon Ball spirit, which is actually, it's cute, but like, it's also whack. Like, it's very, very whack.
Ground.
Like, it's silly. It also, like, the audience that it's targeting is a very strange one. Because think about it, right? 90% of people who would get excited for any Dragon Ball Super property are going to be folks who mainly grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. That's the majority of that audience are those people. So their expectations are, we need transformations. We need people screaming. We need blah, blah, go down the list of shit. But the people making...
knocked into the mountain.
Exactly. But the people making these products... they actually get to talk to Toriyama. They actually give a shit about like the full history of this series, including the Dr. Slump kind of crossover stuff, because it was always kind of Dragon Ball and Dr. Slump, even though the Slump came first, they overlapped with each other, and Toriyama loved to like throw like that shit in, like there's a million like Dragon Ball covers that have like fuck, what is her name? The main character from Dr. Slump, the girl with the pink hair. Aralia-chan or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Like they would just like throw her in there. So like Dragon Ball in Toriyama and historically is this goofy fucking franchise. And then when it did do things that weren't goofy, it wasn't people screaming. It was a lot of like Eastern philosophy and like kung fu and martial arts. Things that like, you know, like classic wuxia inspired shit. Dragon Ball Z has almost nothing to do with martial arts. There's some awesome panels that are where they're doing physical things and it looks great, but the story and the progression in Z is like what they call martial arts getting stronger, and getting stronger just means that's it, or going
different color.
Yeah, different color. So when you pull all that stuff out in 2022 and try to like build something with it, the building pieces don't go together. If you're gonna make Dragon Ball Z for this generation, it would have to be 100% rule of cool, over the top, crazy shit, right? It can't have these like weird retro kind of like simplified kid friendly designs. It would look like every character would look like future Trunks. That's what they would look like if they made it. To be
honest, what I would like to see is, as opposed to we just seeing niggas just like bleep, 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 I want to see a scene of someone like going hand to hand and literally just like, I want to see like a fucking like knuckle just, or like a fucking thing just get like snapped like that, but in fast movement where it's just like this nigga's literally tearing his arm apart, like, and we're seeing it in real time.
Yeah,
I would enjoy something like that.
If you're gonna do, I mean, this could turn to a whole other conversation. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it at this point. But if you're the issue that I keep having as a fan and as like a person who can appreciate the history of a franchise that is awesome, I keep having the same problem, which is they want to respect the past in order to capture nostalgia because most of their audience that's built in, that's what's going to move them. But they also cannot serve that many masters at once. It's the whole concept for Dragon Ball is not actually strong enough to do all of these things in one place. Yeah. If you want an example of why that is meaningful, all you gotta do is look at what happened to Dragon Ball Z over the course of its lifetime. Where it started out as, let's just age up these characters, because Goku was already like in his early teens by the end of the original Dragon Ball. And what everyone involved, Toriyama, the editors, and the fans, realized is that they had to, the series, in order to make all that shit work, had to also age up too. It had to leave behind a lot of the
comedic aspects,
the comedic and the goofiness and like the childlike sort of sense of wonder and discovery, because that it was everything was through Goku's eyes, and Goku was a fish out of water. You go to Z, there's none of that shit, okay? None of it. It's just, oh shit, another crazy alien showed up. It's gonna kill everybody. We gotta beat his ass. Oh shit, I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh no, I didn't die, I'm gonna come back. Oh, now they killed my friend. Oh, I'm gonna fuck him up too. Oh, the whole world's gonna blow up. Like that's, it got so far down the line that whenever they tried to pull it back, even inside the series, immediate backlash, editors, fans freaking the fuck out, saying, stop that shit. Harder, crazier, cooler. It never was able to get past the moment of future Trunks one-shotting Frieza, because that was the point that like the whole series peaked and also lost the creative plot. And there was only one direction to go after that, and that was crazier and up. So if you're trying to show me a movie like this where it's like, oh, we want to get back to the roots. We're going to make the main enemies a Red Ribbon Army, just like the original Dragon Ball. They're going to have weird, goofy designs. Probably there's some combination of the three of them that turn into a cool supervillain that they haven't showed us yet. But like, basically, they want to take Dragon Ball Z back to Dragon Ball the same way Super tried to do that and go back to the original like Tournament of Power structure. But like Super was filled with goofy bullshit that is very original Dragon Ball, but not Dragon Ball Z. Because Toriyama never really liked Dragon Ball Z after that first, run. He was not a big fan because it wasn't the thing. He was being, I don't want to like put too much. He's a really smart guy. He said a lot of things that are on both sides of this, but my interpretation is that he loves Dragon Ball and all the stuff that he did, but he admits that like, Z got out of hand and got out of hand in a way he wasn't necessarily able to fulfill and make himself happy. So every time that they've done a revival and tried to go back, it, for whatever reason, it's always been awkward. GT was actually him trying to re-envision what had happened to Dragon Ball after Z in a framework of what the original Dragon Ball was. And it failed. Like catastrophically it failed.
Yeah. And
it wasn't because it sucked. I mean, there were problems with it. It's because the fans only wanted one thing.
Because we've been conditioned to only expect this when you think of Dragon Ball.
Right, they only wanted one thing. And I look at this movie and I'm like, yellow Piccolo and another bait and switch with Gohan. That's how many millions of dollars did you spend on this?
Why you got that cape on? Take the cape off.
You take the stop.
Like, nigga, what?
Stop.
Is the cape gonna transform with you? Take it off.
If I want to see what somebody who was born now, given the same setup, go make a Dragon Ball that's updated for the modern era. Not this like weird 80s shit that we keep getting shoved at us. If you were gonna make Dragon Ball for 2022, given everything that's happened in anime, in popular culture and media, even the effects of Dragon Ball itself, you know, if you want to be a little self-referential, what would that look like? Because to me, it's not this.
They got the cast. They got the cast. You just throw Goten, Trunks, and Pan in their own fucking little show.
But how do you make this cool? You know what I mean? How do you make this cool? Would
parallel universe that shit?
Well, like would your main characters, would they be doing kung fu? Or would they be doing mixed martial arts? Would that be the style of like the combat? Would everything have that like retro 80s nostalgia look? Or would they bring in some elements that freshen this whole series up to make it make sense? Visually, audio, like I don't see any of that. I just see endless nostalgia. Like I said last week,
call Kubo. You know, ask him his price.
Right, exactly. Kubo is perfect because Bleach is 2 decades old. It's old.
And still holding up.
It's old, but then you asked Kubo 3 years ago, what is your, like, make Bleach cool for 2022? It was easy. He looked street fashion, right? Oh, it's all over the place. Fucking all the Harry Potter, like, influences that are there.
First of all, just even the fact that, like, the uniforms for Burn the Witch looked cute.
Yes.
Like,
and iconic.
Easily discernible.
Yeah.
Easily discernible. Call Kubo. Call Kubo. Y'all got the money.
My man was like, how do I turn graffiti art into...
Here we go. Oh my God. Same conversation as last week.
Yeah, we're gonna keep coming back to it because it's so good.
Because it's so good. And honestly, like, I'm kind of waiting on more Burn the Witch more than I am 1,000-year arc.
I'm with you.
But that's just me though. Okay. But you know, Kubo, get your rest. I'm
gonna make some merch. It'll be the first Anime Savants official merch. It'll be a red hat that says "Make Dragon Ball cool again." All right, that's what we need. We need Dragon Ball to be cool again.
Oh my God!
Make Dragon Ball cool again. It is not right now. This nigga, they gave us piss yellow Piccolo, and they're like, buy a ticket to see this shit.
I'm naming the episode "Piss Yellow Piccolo."
Yeah, please do. That's what they gave us, and then they have the nerve to come out of pocket like, we're gonna give you an all CGI film with piss yellow Piccolo. Pony up for a ticket. You must be out your goddamn mind.
And you know what niggas are gonna pony? I'm a pony up. I'm a pony up too.
You must be. I mean, yes, but that's what's frustrating is that I'm captured by this shitty fucking series. They own me. It's how I feel about Star Wars. I love Star Wars. How many horrible Star Wars movies have I had to sit through in the last 20 years?
I still haven't seen the last one yet.
Don't. Do yourself a favor and don't watch it. I don't do like internet rants on stuff like this because that's a market that is filled by the people. I walked out of that theater with such a deep sense of sadness. Like, And I've had so many of these experiences with Star Wars films. Like, my father took me to go see the first prequel movie, because like we were both into, like, that's how I got into science fiction. And it was a Star Wars movie that came out when I was a kid, the way he was a kid when he got to see the original Star Wars films. We went to that theater, and my father is not someone who like emotes a lot of stuff. He's more of like an observer. And we walked out of that film, he looked at me and I looked at him and I was like, well, that happened. That happened. And I was like 13 years old or whatever. And I was like, that was my birthday present. What a fucking disappointment.
No!
What a fucking disappointment that movie was. And every movie since has been that feeling of like, I remember being a kid, I wanted to be the X-Wing pilot. I wanted to like get the outfit for Halloween. I wanted all that shit. I saw these new movies and I was like, what the fuck happened? And I'm looking at this Dragon Ball shit. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Piss Yellow Piccolo. Go get Arc System Works. Go get Arc. They don't let any of these nothing but the Dragon Ball Fighters team, put them in charge. They have created the first new Dragon Ball character that is fucking sick. Fucking Android 21 lab coat or fully transformed. That's a Dragon Ball character. That's Rule of Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm done.
I mean, I'm surprised they still haven't released the damn complete edition yet. Like, what the hell?
Because it keeps making more money. They put out a fucking costume. Everyone runs back to the game. I'm thankful for it.
I thought that wasn't a costume. I thought that was like a completely different.
Or right. Well, they keep releasing DLC. It is a new. It's a new character.
Okay. So, but like, as opposed to packages, are they just gonna trickle like one at a time in?
We're in a really interesting, weird place because we're the end of a generation and the beginning of a new generation. But technically, the generations have overlapped because we went from like PS4, Xbox One, but then like there were several upgrades, and the problem for these big game companies is they want to sell you a new game on new hardware, but there's just not enough of the new shit out there to have it make sense for them to spend $80 to $100 million on development. So simultaneously they can still make a lot of money putting out DLC and expanding the game, but every time you put out a DLC pack, you kind of increase the lead time to when the people who just pay for the DLC would be willing to buy a new version of the game. And so you're not just gonna, the days of just selling you complete edition is fucking done. Like that's over. I mean, they're gonna, like, Street Fighter had to add all of the existing content that they had plus new shit to try to, I think, what's the one that's out right now, like 5 is done, but the last one was Arcade Edition, I think, and that had 5 DLC seasons worth of content in it, plus when they announced that, they announced a new season of DLC before it came out that would be packed in. So like this idea of like they're gonna sell you one version and a year later they're gonna give you the update. They're just gonna keep updating the platform until they can afford to build a new thing. I just need rollback. Put rollback netcode in fighters. They're now the last of the big ones.
Persona, but the Persona re-release on Steam is gonna have rollback netcode.
They said it. Yeah, they said it. Yep. The director put out a thing where he was like, don't worry, rollback is now in if you're a fighting game fan, you should be overjoyed, because for literally decades we were screaming at these developers, especially the Japanese ones, put motherfucking rollback. You can't keep assuming that the only people playing this game live like within like 50 miles of each other in Japan, where everyone's got fiber and shit. You cannot stop that shit. And it was only I hate COVID
out here.
Bro, they don't even know. Okay. But COVID, the one good thing that COVID did is that it woke those motherfuckers up, because they could always lean on the fact that like the sales for the games that did go well were high, but most of the tournaments, which is where the press around the games and the community is built up, were in person. So all of the network problems that they had and the fact they never invested at all in that side of their game was covered up by the fact that all the pros would show up and play in person. So you didn't have your top names screaming at the company all the time like, yo, this net code is trash, it's actually fucking my career up. But when COVID hit and nobody could go do anything in person, and you get like fucking Daigo, Justin Wong, Goichi, just go down the list of like top players in all these different games, they turn around like, we can't do online qualifiers. How the fuck am I supposed to do an online qualifier if there's a good chance my opponent, I'm working with like 35 ping or worse, 150 ms, and like the dude is literally stuttering around the screen. Like, you can't run a serious anything on infrastructure like this. So it took a while, but almost all of the major games from the previous gen have gotten an upgrade, except for fighters. All the new ones, in every promotional thing, they're like, oh yeah, we got rollback. Oh, we got rollback. That's actually in the promotional stuff, because they know this is something that they will get fucking destroyed over if they don't have it. So I credit COVID for finally getting Japanese developers to deal with it. And the dirty secret is the reason why I wasn't in, because it was the what is the name of the company that developed like, oh, no, I'm forgetting. But anyway, the most well-known open source rollback solution was developed by an American and a Canadian company. Oh. And the Japanese companies did not want to... GGPO, that's what it is. GGPO is the name of whatever. But the Japanese companies, they were that whole Galapagos syndrome shit. They didn't want to bring that in. These guys literally offered themselves. They said, listen, we will work with you to get rollback netcode, you know, for a very modest investment into every single game that you do. We will fly to Japan if we have to fucking do it. And they were like, nah, bro, I think we're good with our in-house developers, and never took it up. Never.
Wow.
Because it wasn't made there. They didn't make it, so they weren't interested. Anyway.
Throwing away money. War. Yeah, fighting games. Yeah, reuse bulge. Yeah. Yeah.
He's slanging out here. They got a new audience now.
More male sexualization, please. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Some
I saw so many like pseudo think pieces. I was like, it's a dick.
It's a dick. Exactly. It's a dick. They're like, oh no, it's just a fold, nigga.
It's a dick.
It was sitting to one side.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Oh, man.
They got bold and they were like, we're gonna put a dick print in the promotional shit.
Good for them.
We're gonna do it because I mean, y'all, like the titties are everywhere, so it's just like, well, yeah, that's there too. Boom.
He's letting it. I mean, look at what he's wearing. You think that's all packed in there? Like, come on.
Yeah. I have one more thing to say. If I follow you on Twitter, on Instagram, or anything else, I don't want to see a single fucking furry retweet of those starters getting fucked. And I'm being so honest. I'm being so absolutely honest. I don't want to see that shit. The fact that y'all had that shit come rolling out same day, less than 8 hours. Don't do it. Because I'll screenshot. Don't do it. That's all.
I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think of that little crocodile or the, Paxley. I don't need that. I already saw.
They're going ape shit over the grass cat. I'm just like, y'all.
I already saw the fucking the B-Star season 2 clip that was being reshared again of the wolf girl in her whatever, and niggas talking about, I didn't know this was some furry porn, and I'm like, bro, you don't even know. Like, let's not bring it over to Pokemon. Let them lie. Okay, the Pokemon has its own problems. I have no
problem with that community whatsoever, but like some just please, just like, can we get a week? Can we get a full week? Like, I know I can't even ask y'all to stop because you're not going to stop, but like, can I just not have it on my timeline, please? Just like, if I follow y'all, just please don't Don't retweet that. I don't want that in my mind. I don't want it in my head. I don't want it anywhere near.
Rule 34 is just how the internet works.
And listen, I have been a fan of it in multiple ways. I'm not gonna lie, but come on, y'all. Like, I think Pokemon start. You know what? No. Just please don't do that. Thanks.
Let's be better. Let's all be better together, right? Let's all be better together.
No, that's not possible.
Just
That's not possible with them.
Okay.
Let's see. Recommendation wise.
Easy.
Oh well, what's
Elden Ring.
Oh Lord, is it really that good?
I put like 60 hours into that game.
What?
All weekend.
60. Oh, so you just. That's just it. Have you even touched Apex?
I got talked out of another night of Elden Ring by my homie who I had disappeared. He was like, "What is going on?" He was like, "Yeah, you gonna get on the season?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah."
I like this game too.
Yeah,
I mean, so what makes it so different, like, than the other Soulsborne?
So I am not a fan of a lot of these FromSoft Souls games. I did not like Bloodborne. I did not play Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but I decided that I would give this one a shot because the aesthetic of it was really closer to what I was interested in. And I wanted to see what the hype was about. And if it turned out it sucked or I didn't want to play it, whatever. And I like this one. The other ones didn't get me because I didn't look at them and say, okay, this is the character I want to make. This is the way I want to play this game. Nothing about them was interesting, especially because in Bloodborne, there was no such thing as blocking. Everything was like dodge. And I don't like that. What didn't look fun to me. This one, I'm like, I could see a way to play this game that in a way I might enjoy. So I picked it up. It's been really good, and it's open world, so if you like exploring and getting your ass kicked, then like that's what it is. And if you like cheesing the game like I do, you could also do that shit too. And I've just been having a lot of fun with it. Now, will I be playing this game in 2 months? Probably not. But for like being part of that first wave of players who doesn't know what to expect, doesn't know all the secrets. There was a kind of, I won't call it a magical feeling, but a unique feeling of like literally being out naked in this very hostile but still grand, high fantasy, cryptic sort of environment. And I could get with that. There's some issues I have with the game that I probably would have the same problem with all the other Souls games. Yeah, but
it's pretty huge, so I'm not surprised by that.
And if I don't like beat it, I don't care, because anything where I can get like more than 20 hours of enjoyment out of for $60, it's like, yeah, what am I complaining about here? Like, that's a lot. I'm about to go pay out the ass for these Batman tickets, and that's a 2-hour movie, so 20 plus hours, 60 hours, that's a good deal.
Are you gonna watch it in like a nice theater? Are you going to iPick? You going to iPick?
Got some nice ass seats.
Oh boy.
Almost. My wife is so into it. She was like, they're still doing it there. You can like rent the theater. So she was like,
oh, okay.
But we didn't do that. I'm like, that's too much.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like those prices have skyrocketed by now.
They have. We tried to do it once and actually fucked up and missed our date. So we spent like this is during the pandemic though, and they were doing it for like $240.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's more. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool. But due to a calamity of errors, we did not get to do that. But yes, she's into Batman. That's her thing. Oh. I like she loves Batman. I'm like, I like Batman. So, but we're gonna have the right experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my recommendation is Elden Ring. Give it a shot. If you never played these types of games before, it's actually a better starting point than some of the other entries. It is still very difficult, and there's still some gimmicky shit that is in all FromSoft Souls games, but they've sanded down, I think, enough of the edges and maybe simplified enough things where you'll know within a couple of days if it's a type of game for you, because you'll do it, you'll get wrecked, you'll put the game down, and then if that itch comes back of like, fuck that motherfucker, I can get him, then it gets you hooked in that loop of like, what do I have to do to either get good or to, get stronger? And both things kind of happen at the same time, and the bosses are so brutal from jump that you don't, it lets you know if it's your thing or not, so I'm excited to play more.
Okay. Well, I told you I was watching a lot of BL, so my recommendation is My Beautiful Man. It's Japanese BL. You can find it on Viki. It's only 6 episodes long, about 20 minutes each episode. And no, there's not like, fuckity fucking like every episode. It's actually pretty like, it's actually like toxic, but like not in like a sexually like toxic way. It's kind of just like a over attachment leading into actual love on the person who's being imprinted upon, and it gets pretty it gets fucked up to a certain point, and then the people start working on themselves and it gets better. There we go. But
gotcha.
It's still pretty, it's kind of a mess, but that's what makes these BLs good sometimes though. But yeah, that's my recommendation for the week. Is there anything else?
I think we have covered everything there is to talk about right now.
Okay, yeah, because this is a long episode, y'all. We ain't done a 2-hour one in a minute. So, if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Twitter, anime_savants. Shout out to Ashbeard, Black Anime Podcast. They had a really cool space earlier today about the the Crunchyroll Funimation merger. So, if you're one of the people who discovered us from that, this is James. I'm pointing over here. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be over here when I do the edit. So yeah, this is James. That was the one I was talking about. This is the person that Ash asked, "Is this James?" When I first appeared. So this is James right here. Other than that, you can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. Also, our Spotify now has the video also, so you don't only have to go to YouTube to watch the video podcast. You can just watch it straight through Spotify on your phone if you want to also. And you can follow me, Kura Shore, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's there, if you want to. Yeah.
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at Neural Handshake. Yeah, that's about it. I think for me, it's gonna be another quiet week of being glued to the TV, played Elden Ring. So unless something catches on fire, I go crazy on Twitter. But hey, it is what it is.
I'll be screaming at people in ranked on League of Legends. So,
good luck with that.
Yeah. Oh, they're horrible. Bye, y'all.